Welcome, friends. I'm Reverend Leanne Armstrong, and this is Gimme 5. If you'll give me 5 minutes, I'll do my best to give you a spiritual deep breath to begin your week with. Our scripture passage this week is brief, an amazing challenge to believers following a lengthy reminder of the rich heritage of faithful example and inspiration we share. Listen and see what stands out to you in this lesson from Hebrews chapter 12. Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and the sin that clings so closely, and let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith, who for the sake of the joy that was set before him endured the cross, disregarding its shame, and has taken his seat at the right hand of the throne of God. The first thing that catches my attention is the nearly poetic use of language, not just beautiful, but evocative of sensations and visuals that immediately spring to life. Being surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses is language we may have to be careful to understand. There can be witnesses who are watching all the time, waiting for you to mess up and then running to tattle. There can be witnesses to awful events who can be traumatized by what they cannot unsee. But there can be witnesses who show up to tell us the truth about how faith can transform our lives. Witnesses who show up like our most enthusiastic supporters to cheer us on as we suss out what our race will look like, how we'll pace ourselves, making sure we know we're not living our faith in the world alone. Then there is the language for the things that hold us back, every weight, and the sin that clings so closely. When I show up several days a week to teach music lessons, loaded down with a heavy book bag and several stringed instruments on my back, climbing a couple of flights of stairs nearly takes me out for a couple of minutes. Since I'm not a runner, I imagine this exponentially increased is what running the race with every weight might feel like. And I've lived long enough that I know what it feels like to try running a life race with every emotional weight on my shoulders, metaphorically too. How about you? And what about the sin that clings so closely? I'm imagining that spider web that materializes overnight between my car door and carport post, the one that I don't notice till I lean into it with my face when I lunge into my Honda's open door. If it's happened to you, now you can imagine it with me, I bet. Sin clinging as tenaciously and tightly as that sticky, irritating spider web. And this fits with my understanding of the nature of sin, which is less an action than a falling short. A one-time act wouldn't really cling, but an ongoing or attitudinal falling short would stick around. Hard to shake off. That clinginess, that might take a cloud of witnesses to wash away. The other thing brought to my attention about this little passage was its emphasis on the plural. I believe as I grew up, I absorbed this as a singular encouragement. You run the race you are called to run. When I read this passage, though, it's clearly not an individualistic call at all. It's more like, y'all, since all these heroes showed up to cheer us on, let's us shrug off the weights we've shouldered and swish off the sin that stuck to us like spiderweb and lets us run and not wear out in the race we are called to together. So I ask you, what might it change about the challenge and calling of faith if we thought of it as a we thing and not as a me thing? Beloved, as you go, and go you will, know this: we've got weights and sin that clings, but we've got witnesses, and the road is calling. Let's go.